China approves 2 vaccines against XBB COVID-19 variant, expert. China has already approved 2 COVID-19 vaccines against XBB variants and there are about 4 more waiting for approval, said top Chinese respiratory expert Zhong Nanshan at a sub-forum of Greater Bay Area Science Forum 2023 in Guangzhou, South China's Guangdong province. Zhong predicted the new wave of COVID-19 in China led by the XBB strain may peak by the end of June. Data shared by Zhong at the forum showed the second wave of COVID-19 in China started in mid-April and the amount of infection cases is expected to increase by 65 million every week by the end of June. He also reminded the prediction is based on a data model, which could be not accurate. Zhong said the next step in dealing with COVID-19 infection is to develop vaccines covering the XBB mutated strains, including mRNA vaccines and recombinant protein vaccines, which are mainly targeted at specific groups, such as the elderly who are immunocompromised or have other serious underlying diseases. On the other hand, prompt medical treatment should be given to the patients once they are infected, which can greatly reduce the death rate, said Zhong. Game changer: huge network of ancient Mayan cities and highways could rewrite history. A small but vocal group of indigenous researchers have long challenged the notion that Mayans were a relatively recent civilization. A new study shows they were right all along. Scientists have discovered a sprawling network of 417 cities in present-day Guatemala dating back to around 1000 BC, which are linked by almost 110 miles of superhighways that are being described as the first freeway system in the world. According to researchers, the evidence for a highly developed civilization with a complex economic, social, and political system was uncovered with LiDAR technology, a relatively new kind of radar used to pierce through the jungle's thick tree canopy and any undergrowth below. In addition to the massive roads and cities, a number of ceremonial buildings, agricultural infrastructure, and even hydraulic systems all suggest Central America's ancient Mayan civilization was vastly more sophisticated than Western academics have ever given them credit for. Richard Hansen, the lead author of the study, said that prior to the groundbreaking discovery, most scientists believed that only inhabitants in the area would have been roving bands of nomads, planting corn. We now know that the pre-classic period was one of extraordinary complexity and architectural sophistication, with some of the largest buildings in world history being constructed during this time, says Hansen, who also heads a Maya-focused nonprofit called the Foundation for Anthropological Research and Environmental Studies. In terms of correcting the view of American history preferred by the establishment, the findings are a game changer, Hansen said, adding that they've unveiled a whole volume of human history that we've never known. Artifacts from the era in question were likely to have been buried by later Maya construction and subsequently blanketed by Hubble growth, researchers say. The study, described as an introduction to one of the largest contiguous, regional LiDAR studies published to date in the Maya lowlands, revealed more than 775 ancient Maya settlements, and 189 more in the surrounding areas, which archaeological testing found to be from the Middle and Late Pre-Classic periods. In addition, the area's monumental architecture, consistent architectural formats, specific site boundaries, water management/collection facilities, and 177 kilometers of elevated pre-classic causeways indicate the Mayans had labor investments that defy organizational capabilities of lesser polities. The quantity and distribution of the settlements and continuities in architecture among them provide evidence for early centralized administrative and socio-economic strategies within a defined geographical region, researchers say. A co-author on the paper, San Carlos University archaeologist Enrique Hernandez, reportedly said the discovery could rival the pyramids in Egypt as a psychical symbol showcasing ancient humanity's development and might one day draw as many tourists. Of particular significance were images of Balinal, one of the pre-classic civilization's crucial hubs, which were revealed for the first time, one U.S. outlet explained. According to lead author Hansen, previous excavations around Balinal in 2009 failed to recognize the incredible sophistication and size of the city, all of which was immediately evident with LiDAR technology. LiDAR indicates the site is among the largest in the region, and the roads radiating to other smaller sites suggest its administrative, economic, and political importance in the pre-classic periods, he noted. China prepares to launch Shenzhou-16 crewed spaceship. The combination of the Shenzhou-16 crewed spaceship and a Long March 2F carrier rocket were transferred to the launch site in Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China on Monday, the China Manned Space Agency, CMS, said. Wang Suwu, deputy director of Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, said to ensure the consistent and stable status of the rocket, the whole process including assembly, test, and transport has to be conducted vertically. Prior to the launch, Wang said to China Media Group that the center has made full preparation to ensure the success of the mission. First, we have fully restored the ground facilities and equipment and created rescue conditions for emergency launch. Second, before the transport of the combination, we worked with colleagues from all relevant departments to run a comprehensive and systematic review and re-examination, including running operational examinations, in order to fulfill the mission at our best, said Wang. The follow-up work including checks and joint tests will be carried out as planned and the rocket will be launched on a designated date. The crew members of the new spaceship will be arriving soon to take part in the tests and rehearsal. The new spacecraft will carry 3 takonauts, or Chinese astronauts, to the China Space Station, where they will meet with the 3-member Shenzhou-15 crew. The Shenzhou-16 spacecraft was assembled in late 2022. The logo for the mission was revealed in March, which incorporates the kun, a sacred animal from Chinese mythology that flies extremely high and far in a steady manner. China plans to launch 2 manned spacecraft and 1 or 2 cargo spacecraft into space every year, according to CMS. China launched the Tianzhou-6 cargo spacecraft on May 10, which carried supplies for the Shenzhou-16 crew to the space station. The next manned mission will be Shenzhou-17, which is set to be carried out in October. Rock carving masterpiece? Huge Baroque-like petroglyph unearthed in Sweden. The massive 15-meter-long rock carvings were made on a nearly vertical slab on an island, visible from far and wide, yet ended up in the ground, covered in moss. A colossal rock carving discovery, seen as the biggest in the 21st century, has been unearthed in Bohuslän County, southern Sweden. The collection of petroglyphs was found in the Kvill parish and stretches across 15 meters. It contains some 40 figures, including 13 ships, 9 horses, 7 people, and 4 chariots. Archaeologist Andreas Toreld described the figures, which include a 2-meter-long ship and a man over 1 meter tall, as large and well-made. While the motif is not unique, its placement is very rare. These carvings were covered in moss when they were found. They were located on a farm in a pasture, and the archaeologists from the Foundation for Documentation of Bohuslän County Petroglyphs noticed that a small part of a ship was sticking out from under the moss. They removed the moss and revealed the carvings in all their glory. The carving's date was set at 700 to 800 BC, with its accuracy being buttressed by an almost vertical position of the slab. To achieve their goal, the artists must have been in boats. It is 12 meters above today's sea level. Therefore, it cannot be older than the 8th century BC, because then it would have been underwater. But the unusual thing is that we also have a limit ahead. If it was earlier than the 8th century, the carvers would have needed a ladder or platform, and it seems unreasonable that they would have carved in a straight line 3 meters from the ground, Andreas Toreld disclosed in a statement. At the time when the carving was made, the slab was located on an island. It must have been visible from far and wide. It was at the peak of the petroglyph period, when both the most intricate and the most beautiful carvings were created. The carving continued at least until around the birth of Christ, but the ships became simpler. During the Younger Bronze Age, from which this one comes, the style was closest to Baroque. Everything was bloated and exaggerated, but perhaps not so realistic, Andreas Toreld said. The carvings are only slightly smaller than the world-famous 20-meter-long Vitleak cave located at the World Heritage Site in Tinnum. Petroglyphs have been found in all parts of the globe except Antarctica, yet the highest concentrations appear to be in Africa, Scandinavia, Karelia, and Siberia. Their purpose remains questioned, depending on their location, age, and subject matter. INTL scientists highlight cooperation at Greater Bay Area Science Forum. Scientists on Sunday called for heightened sci-tech cooperation in the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macau Greater Bay Area, GBA, and across the globe to address common challenges from climate change to aging population. They made the remarks at the ongoing Greater Bay Area Science Forum, which kicked off on Saturday in Guangzhou, capital of South China's Guangdong province. Nearly 100 academicians and leading experts from China and beyond are attending the event. Nancy Yuk UIP, president of the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, called for maximizing the strength of the GBA as an innovation and economic powerhouse to gear up for the aging population. Cross-disciplinary, cross-regional, and cross-system cooperation must be strengthened, she said. China has planned to build a global innovation and technology hub in the GBA, home to many tech giants and start-ups, as well as a growing cluster of scientific facilities and universities. Nobel laureate Samuel Chao Chung-Ting said at the forum that China has world-class experimental physicists. Ting said the Chinese physicists have imagination, and the capacity and experience to develop new technologies, lead international cooperation, and make important contributions to human knowledge. Taking place in Guangdong cities including Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Foshan, the forum will feature 15 sub-forums, with focus on marine science, nanoscience, high-energy physics, advanced manufacturing, and artificial intelligence.